आज देखते हैं किस्मत किसकी चमकती है। Ramesh? No, not this guy. Last time we gave the car, he returned it 3 days later. Suresh? Hello, mister. Hey, boss, what are you doing? Nothing much, just allotting the XUVs. What? A lottery system to sell a car? What am I supposed to do? Mahindra packed in all the features possible in a 12 to 15 lakh car, and now people are not leaving it. There have been so many bookings. There is absolutely no control over it. We thought this is the best way possible to take control of things. Hopefully, it doesn't have its own share of niggles. Actually, the question isn't wrong because when XUV was launched, it faced so many niggles. But over the course of time, in the last decade, XUV 500 got 2 facelifts. One big facelift in 2015, where there were a lot of improvements to the car. The improvements were so much, we were so pleased with the car that we bought one for ourselves, and we have clocked more than 80,000 kilometers in it, including a road trip from Bangalore to Ladakh, and also to the highest motorable pass in the world, that is Khardungla Pass. And trust me, I can vouch on its highway mile munching capabilities till date. After thousands of spy shots, hundreds of teasers and whatnot, we are finally driving the Mahindra XUV 700 today. Wait, let's take a throwback to yesterday's beautiful launch and the price announcement, which took the auto industry by storm. What's more exciting is that we are here at MSPT, Mahindra SUV Proving Track, to check out the true capabilities of the XUV 700 through these tracks. Mahindra was always known to make one of the best looking SUVs of all time, and the same legacy has been carried over to the XUV 700 So talking about the paint quality first, the paint quality is outstanding. The paint fit and finish is really good, no complaints on that at all. And moving on to the headlamps, we have the LED headlamps here, which should be powerful enough. We really did not get time to test them in the real world conditions. And then you have the DRLs, which are followed like this, and this is the cheetah representation, which is the traditional XUV theme design that's been there since a decade, since 2011 when the first XUV 500 was launched. Talking about one of the most important aspects here today is the addition of new Mahindra logo to the XUV 700. This is the first car that's going to get the logo, and this is going to be replicated across all the other Mahindra cars. And we feel that the logo really doesn't go very well with this, because there's a separate provision provided here to place the logo, unlike the older logo which was placed very neatly here. Although this might still be okay with the XUV, there's going to be a problem in placing this logo across other traditional Mahindra cars like the Bolero. But apart from that, this is the 7 slated grille here, which has chrome vertical insets which look very good on the black piano finish of the grille. And then going lower down to the car, we have the skid plates here, and the skid plates look pretty premium here, and there are ADAMs which look good, and also they are functional. That there's no problem in that at all. And overall, one thing that we found out is probably not very logical here, but the design of this car, especially in this blue with this chrome slates here, looks very similar to the Maserati Levante. One thing that I want to point out is there are air dams here next to the fog lamps, and they are actually functional. As you can see, the stick is passing through the dams up and down, and they are going to actually help the car in reducing the drag coefficient. That's the purpose, one of the purpose of that. And these are the fog lamps here. They are surrounded by a typical cheap plastic cladding here, which is going to get damaged, that is for sure. And apart from that, you have a very beautiful alloy wheel design. It's an 18-inch wheel, 1-inch upgrade from the earlier XUV 500. And there is Mahindra's new logo embedded here. It looks like a butterfly sitting on the wheel for some reason. I really hope that the quality of nuts is better in the XUV 700, because the quality of nuts in the XUV 500 is actually quite poor. And talking about the design, again the design goes very well. That is the silver and black design of the alloy wheels go very well with the silver and black design of the grille. It looks like they both are made for each other, and that's how the design equation of XUV 700 is just fantastic. XUV 500 was powered by 2.2 mHawk engine, which was loved by the enthusiasts. It was a fantastic engine. This, the elder sibling XUV 700, is powered by 2.2 mHawk engine, producing 185 bhp of power. This engine produces 185 bhp of power, but what's interesting is it has a torque figure of 450 Newton meters for the automatic variant. That is incredible on paper at least. However, looks like Mahindra has skimmed on the hydraulic struts which were there in the XUV 500 and gone for the old school method to open the bonnet. You must have seen this Apsara pencil ad where a kid scores 2 extra marks because of his neat handwriting. Similarly, if I had to score this XUV's exterior design out of 100, example, if I'm giving 90 marks out of 100, then I would deduct 10 marks because of this useless badge here, which spoils the entire premiumness of this very classy design otherwise. I don't understand why manufacturers have to have these badges. I mean, the one here is still okay, but if you look at the badge and the Hector, right, internet inside, that loud badge, that's so not necessary. And talking about more important aspect here is the panel gap. This car has one of the most inconsistent panel gaps we have ever seen. This is still fine, we'll go back to the rear, but then again the gap here is more, and again the panel gap reduces as we go down the line here. One of the most talked about features of the XUV 700 is the smart door handles, which are of course inspired by the Range Rover Velar. Check this out. It gives you a feeling of Bond, James Bond. When the spy shots of the XUV were out in the market recently, people criticized the rear design so much, including me of course, but the reality is much better. The tri-arrow LED tail lamps, as Mahindra likes to call it, go very well with the car, and there are dynamic indicators here, which is probably inspired by Audi of those 5 to 6 years ago. And there's a typical shark fin antenna here. The glass area is quite small, but that's not a problem because the reverse camera's clarity is quite good even in the earlier XUV and even in this XUV as well. But surprisingly, Mahindra has omitted on many parking sensors here. There are just 2 parking sensors here. We really hope that we have got at least 3 or 4 parking sensors for better accuracy, but that's not the case here. It feels that there's a butterfly sitting on the rear of the car. That's how the new Mahindra logo feels on this blue design of the XUV. And talking about the most prominent thing in the rear, that is the panel gaps. There are a lot of inconsistent panel gaps across the car, and this is more prominent at the rear. As you can see, the panel gaps is quite less here, here especially, and then as we move down, the panel gaps get wider, and then again they get narrower here, and this thing is consistently inconsistent across the car. One thing that I really hated in the XUV 500 was the boot space. There was no boot space in the car at all. I mean, you could barely stuff in 2 umbrellas. That's not boot space, come on. And I really had a lot of expectations from the XUV 700 in terms of the boot space management, but let's see how does it fare. Things are exactly the same here. This is a massive opportunity lost for Mahindra because Mahindra hasn't listened to the consumers at all. The boot space is absolutely nil. You can just stuff in this XUV 700's body cover, probably 2 of them if you want to have 2 covers for your car, but apart from that, nothing else. There is absolutely no space to stuff in anything. As you can see here, probably you can just stuff in small bags here, but I think this was one of the rare opportunities where Mahindra could have addressed this big issue, and they have missed out on it, and this is very disappointing. The first thing that you notice once you step inside the massive glasses of the XUV 700 is that the interiors are leaps and bounds ahead than the earlier XUV 500. It's remarkable how Mahindra has managed to stitch things this well in a car which is very competitively priced. AC vents are now conventional and unlike the radical design of the previous car. The effectiveness of the AC is fair enough but could have been better. More importantly, it's a dual zone fully automatic climate control. The center of attraction, however, are the twin 10.25-inch touchscreen systems. One for the infotainment system and other is the instrument cluster. The screens have serious resemblance to the Mercedes-Benz E-Class and are really sensitive to touch. They are equipped with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay with a built-in Alexa feature. Mahindra has made use of the Adreno X, an innovative cockpit technology for cutting-edge driving experience with 60 plus connected apps and several built-in apps, which also take the help of third-generation Qualcomm Snapdragon automotive cockpit platforms. Adreno X will bring immersive 3D sound experience sourced from Sony, and this has to be one of the most significant improvements over the earlier XUV, which had a pathetic music system. Although the vocals and treble are top notch, we noticed a bit of jarring effect at higher volumes from heavy bass. However, Mahindra claimed that the infotainment is still in the beta stage and asked us to refrain from shedding more insights on it. Mahindra wants to leave no stone unturned in the feature list, and hence a 360-degree surround camera makes it to the list along with blind spot monitoring, which is based on the indicator input just like the one in Alcazar. Mahindra has also added memory seats. In fact, the design of the buttons for the memory seats are a complete lift-off from the E-Class. Just like the other buttons, the buttons on the door pads feel slightly cheap. The auto gear lever is wrapped in leather with chrome touch that looks very upmarket. The cockpit can be controlled through a 4-way circular joystick monitor knob. What we really loved are the front seats, which offer extremely good support, both lumbar support, under-thigh support and overall comfort. The fact that they're leather wrapped makes it a very plush experience overall. The XUV 700 also gets 7 airbags in total, with curtain airbags also extending to the third row, which is a very sensible move. One of the biggest challenges faced by someone who's sitting in the third row of XUV 500 was the knee room was limited, the leg room was limited, of course, because the second row of seats were fixed. And we really hope that the second row of seats should be sliding in the 700, but things are not that here. I mean, it's the same thing. So kind of know that what I'm going to have there in the third row, but let's check it out. And before that, I really like the way Alcazar has access to the third row seat with one touch button, but that's not the case here. You would have to do some extra circus. This has been a problem since quite some time. You need to press it very hard for the seat to open, and you're going to access like this. While I came here with some expectations, but on the contrary, things have become worse here. Look at the headroom. The headroom is so less. Imagine if someone super tall is going to sit here. They're really going to brush their head to this part here. I mean, I'm not able to understand what has gone wrong here. Look at the speakers. It's just touching your head almost. This is not an ergonomic design at all. The headroom should have been more. Forget the legroom, but firstly the headroom should have been more. But addressing the legroom is the same, no difference. The knee room is barely there. There is no knee room, and you just have this AC vents here, a 12-volt charger, but all that is fine. But I think the most basic creature comfort, headroom, is lost. The XUV 500 had one of the nicest second row seats, and the same thing is translated here. But before even I go on to legroom and headroom and things like that, I really want to appreciate one thing that is there in the 700 versus the 500. That is the presence of rear AC vents here, which make a huge difference compared to the remotely useless vents that were there here. I mean, in the B pillar, in the 500, these are much better. They solve the purpose much better. And I really wish that we had blower control here, because that is not there, and that's very surprising. It's not a 7 or 8 lakh rupee car we're talking about. It's 15-16 lakhs on road, but then we really wish we had blower controls. Of course, we're not expecting individual climate controls and things like that, but at least blower controls would have been much better. But having said that, the quality of the plastics here is super duper cheap. They are literally hard plastics here. That is evident cost cutting, but actually I'm not complaining on that, because having AC vents here makes a huge difference. And apart from that, you have armrests with cup holders. You have cup holders like this here. You had the cup holders like this in the 500, and the seats are good, super supportive, very good legroom, like really good legroom, and the under-thigh support is good. Headroom is thankfully better. And one thing that I want to point out is the second row of seats do not have adjustment. They're not adjustable using the slider mechanism. I think that is one thing that we really wish for, but we did not get. But apart from that, the biggest addition, the biggest improvement here is the addition of vents. I want to reiterate it again and again. It makes a huge difference. And sometimes it happens that you're sitting in the second row and you want more legroom, and you ask the person in the front to move the seat forward. And this time you got to be independent, because you have an option to slide the front row seat like this from this second row, which is kind of really good. And the biggest difference, apart from the AC vents, that the second row passengers are going to witness is this beautiful sky roof, as Mahindra wants to call it, which is nothing but a panoramic sunroof. The ride quality was one of the most disappointing areas of the XUV 500. Glad that we had our expectations set on those lines, and hence the XUV 700 feels far better when it's driven over potholes. Drive it unknowingly fast on speed breaker and you are going to be reminded of the infamous stories of the earlier sibling. Although it eats up most of the potholes effortlessly, the thuds of larger potholes at high speeds are translated to the passengers and they won't be very happy about it. The front suspension duties are carried by an independent McPherson strut, and a multi-link independent suspension makes it to the rear, both of which are equipped with stabilizer bars. Although Mahindra optimistically claimed in the presentation that the addition of frequency selective dampers will ensure plush ride across all terrains, things in the real world scenarios are a bit conservative in harsh terrains. Thankfully, the lateral movement of passengers in the cabin has significantly reduced, and this is a big deal breaker for us, and a huge improvement over the earlier one, which literally tossed the occupants upside down on bad roads. Having said that, we really wish Mahindra had allotted slightly additional bandwidth to take care of the comfort, as the competition offers a better ride quality. Read the Tata Harrier. With great power comes great responsibility. The stoppage power comes from all 4 discs. Although the braking is a considerable improvement compared to the earlier XUV, it's still far from perfection. The pedal has an initial spongy feel, which kind of dilutes the confidence. Don't get us wrong, it's not bad at all. We made full use of the tracks provided by Mahindra to test various behaviors of the vehicle. The initial test was to check out the performance of its electronic stability program, also known as the ESP in common, and boy, that left us very impressed. ESP has a lot of features under it, but one of the main features is to save the vehicle from skidding and lose control during high-speed maneuvers. The system enhances directional control and stability of the vehicle under various driving conditions. The ESP corrects for oversteering and understeering behavior of the vehicle by applying the brake of the appropriate wheel automatically. Engine power may also be reduced to assist in counteracting the condition of the oversteer or understeer and help the vehicle maintain the desired path. ESP uses steering angle sensors and angular velocity sensors to determine the path the driver intends to steer the vehicle and compares it to the actual path of the vehicle. When the actual path does not match the intended path, the ESP applies the brake of the appropriate wheel to assist in such difficult situations. Next in line was a track where we got to test the dynamics of the vehicle. This is the department where the XUV was always known to excel. Of course, considering the massive dimensions and proportions, the high center of gravity compared to conventional cars. Just like the younger sibling, the XUV 700 left us very impressed. Of course, it isn't a low-slung sedan to offer negligible body roll, just that it's not very evident unlike other larger SUVs, especially the Japanese Toyota Fortuner. The track gave us an opportunity to steer the car haphazardly, and we must admit it was pure fun. There weren't evident signs of nervousness when turning the XUV at decent speeds in circular fashion either. It's commendable to see the homegrown car manufacturer come a long way. Talking of which, the XUV is also equipped with driver drowsiness detection, which suggests the driver to take a break based on the inputs provided by acceleration, steering, among others. The biggest addition to XUV, or rather, Mahindra is the first indigenous car manufacturer to feature an advanced driver assist system in their car. It's bundled with features like front collision warning, auto emergency braking, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, smart pallet assist, traffic sign recognition, and high beam assist. The biggest shocker is the hydraulic power steering makes way for the electric power steering, making it light, and it has lost the communication and feedback provided by earlier steering. Although enthusiasts will not appreciate it, it will be of great convenience in parking speeds. The XUV was one of the few cars where the steering was calibrated really well, if not like the perfect steering of the older Figo. But to end it on a positive note, the steering does weigh up with speeds, and we really mean good speeds. It's not that the steering isn't precise, it's fairly precise in spite of having less weight, just that the XUV 700 doesn't draw the confidence and smile the earlier sibling bought on our face every single time we drove it on our beautiful highways.
In the XUV 700 in the high-speed track by Mahindra, I'm really eager to check out the high-speed stability of this car, because the XUV 500 has been a fantastic mile muncher, and I have lot of expectations from the 700 as well. Let's see how does it perform on the curated, safe, high-speed track. We are doing triple-digit speeds, and the car feels absolutely planted. It's fantastic. Okay, let's take the third lane here. There is a curve, there's an inclination, and there is no moment of nervousness. Absolutely no moment of nervousness in the car. It just feels planted like a magnet. This is a fantastic job done by Mahindra there. The car feels planted. This is going to be a breeze. Really appreciate the factors considered. The dynamics are absolutely mind-blowing. We touched 150 km/h. It just didn't feel like. We are driving the much awaited automatic transmission of the XUV 700. First things first, the engine is very vocal. Starting from 2000 RPM itself, when you start hearing a lot of engine noise inside the cabin, the NVH levels are slightly poor in this. For some reason, I found the one in the XUV 500 slightly better than this. And talking about the gearbox, more importantly, there is a lag which is evident. The same gearbox, that is a 6-speed ASIN gearbox, is beautifully tuned in the Mahindra Thar, but in this, the XUV 700, things are not that good. Probably the gearbox isn't able to handle a lot of power. The tuning in the Thar is much better for the same gearbox. Having said that, once you reach a certain gear, say the 3rd gear or the 4th gear, things get much better. The lag subsides. The lag goes down considerably, but during the first 2 gear shifts, the lag is there prominently. We did try changing different modes too. The zip zap zoom, we found that the zoom mode is slightly better, in which the gears are shifting in the gearbox, but again, especially in the zip mode, you do feel that there is lag. Not a good thing. Haven't been a big fan of the automatic transmission of the earlier XUV2, but the same thing continues here. And the diesel automatic is one of the favorite market, and I really wish Mahindra had done the tuning better. So we are finally driving the manual variant of the XUV 700, and I'm super excited because this variant is going to sell in big numbers. That's why it's very important for us to evaluate this against its automatic counterpart. Here we go. Slotted into the first gear. The travel of clutch is quite long, and this is going to bother people who are dependent on driving in bumper to bumper traffic. And for some reason, the clutch kind of shows some resistance when it's depressed. After you press the clutch, when you depress it, it says ki, I don't want to come back. That kind of feeling, you know. I hope that this is persistent across this particular car that I'm driving and not across other cars, because that is going to affect the wear and tear of the clutch life. Although the throws of the gears are shorter than the earlier XUV 500, but they are notchy. The throws are notchy. It's not butter smooth. They are fairly notchy. So it's not that you're going to have a great experience driving the manual variant. Honestly, I had a lot of hopes in this, the manual variant, because the automatic isn't very exciting either. It's good, the automatic is good, but I had a lot of hopes from the manual variant because enthusiasts love to drive manual cars. But this isn't very pleasing. It'll do the job. It'll of course do the job. No complaints as such. You don't feel that the car is lacking its breath or something. There is lots and lots of grunt available. Super torquey engine. Lots of grunt available in the engine. It pulls all the way from 2000 RPM. We're just doing around 2200, 300, 2500 RPM, and there's so much grunt available. There's so much grunt available in this car that you will never ever be enough of it. It's just mind-blowing torque figures, and the best part is the torque is available in the healthy power band range, in the somewhere in the mid ranges, when there's so much of punch available that you don't have to be dependent on the very high RPMs to extract all the juice from the engine, both the power and torque numbers. That's where this car is going to excel. There is no second thought. It's going to be loved by a lot of enthusiasts, but having said that, the gearbox could have been tuned better. It should have been tuned better. There is no denying that.
An SUV isn't an SUV if it doesn't get a 4x4 system. Well, if that was too much to ask for, Mahindra has equipped the XUV 700 with an all-wheel drive system. According to the driving conditions, this system distributes the torque between the front and rear wheels. Torque is applied to the front wheel similar to front wheel drive fashion. Whenever any slippage or excessive wheel spin is detected, all-wheel drive redistributes the torque between front and rear wheels seamlessly without any driver intervention. This should help the XUV fare much better than its front wheel drive rivals and counterparts in mild off-road conditions.
Okay, shall we go?
Let's check. Yeah. Press
Yeah.
hit plus, hit plus.
Done.
Let it be. Don't apply brake and all. Okay. So don't apply brake and all. System will take care of braking function. Let it be like this.
As you can see, my foot is completely off the brake. We were doing around 30 kmph, and because of ADAS, it detected that there's a car ahead of me. There's the blue XUV. That's why the speed slowed down automatically. First, what it did was, it understood the speed of the car ahead of me. It matched the speed, and then when it realized that that car is stopped and it needs to slow down, it slowed down automatically. My foot is completely off the accelerator and brake. This XUV has overtaken that car, and let's see what the system is going to do. It detected that there is a car ahead of us, and then it slowed down. That's very clever. You don't have to be dependent on the car, that particular car. Just you saw that the blue XUV overtook this car, and now this is going to match the speed of this silver car. Any particular idea why you kept auto? Just curious.
Yeah, that is what, like, even let me explain that. So Mercedes-Benz, BMW and all, they will not detect auto and all for ACC mode.
Oh,
Okay,
that is
so,
very
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. So and even MG Gloster doesn't follow auto and all.
Okay.
So that is why we specifically tuned the ADAS system specifically to the Indian road scenarios.
Okay, this is just brilliant. Like, as you heard from Mr. Kumarasan now, the ACC is adaptable to Indian situations, which means that cars like Merc and Gloster are not considering auto as a proper vehicle, but the XUV is going to consider the Desi auto as a proper vehicle. As we can see, the ACC is on with the green light there.
Yeah, so speed of 57 kmph, we increase to 60. Okay, now the target vehicle is going at a constant speed of 30 kmph.
Okay.
Once our vehicle detects the target, immediately our vehicle will be adapted to the target vehicle speed.
Yeah.
Clear? So
Yes.
Previously we were at a speed of 60 kmph.
Yeah.
Now we come down to 30 kmph because of the target vehicle.
That is the auto, green auto there.
Yes.
This is just incredible.
Yeah. You'll be experiencing the auto emergency braking towards the pedestrian dummy. Okay, so you need to maintain 20 kmph of speed as of now. Okay, so you don't need to apply brake and all. System will take care of braking function.
Okay, but for that, for the AEB, it's by default active. It's not like ACC where you need to switch it on.
Yes. For ACC active and disable, there is a separate switch. For AEB, there is an internal.
You don't have to
settings.
do it externally.
Yeah. Internal settings. You need to go to settings and then driver assistance. And then second option is auto emergency braking. Under auto emergency braking, it will be defaultly on. AEB will be defaultly on. If the user doesn't want AEB auto braking at all, he can choose off.
Okay.
If you choose off, you will get the pop-up over here, AEB is off, which means system vehicle will not be applying the automatic braking. Okay. That is what the meaning. Okay?
Now we switched it on.
It's switched on. Yeah. So AEB it will not depend on to the ACC function. Even ACC is turned off, AEB will work.
Okay, great. We'll proceed.
Yeah, you need to maintain 20 kmph of speed.
Okay.
And while nearing to the target, you just leave the foot from your pedal.
Okay. This is the first time that we are going to do a live demo of it. We are exactly at 20 kmph, 22.
Don't
left.
apply brake.
This is mind-blowing. This is just
Apply brake.
mind-blowing. I mean, you guys must have seen this. This is incredible. It just applied the brake automatically when the pedestrian was detected at 23 kmph. Although it can take up speeds up to 50 kmph, but just for safety precautions, we just kept it 22 as a speed here.
In IBM assist, what will happen? You need to be. There is another option called headlamp switch, which should be in active mode.
Okay.
Not this one. This icon should be there.
Okay.
And if the IBM is enabled, about 20 kmph of speed during night condition, if any vehicle is oncoming with a light source, okay, our system detects the light source, oncoming light source. Immediately, if we were in high beam, our system will turn to the
Low beam.
Yeah. So once the vehicle crosses, the low beam will be switched back to high beam.
Okay, this is excellent. This is going to help a lot of drivers who feel that they are tortured with high beam on the highways. This is excellent again. As you can see here, this is the lane departure assist. I am going towards the right and the steering is coming back, which means that it is not letting me change. Okay. I will override in the system here, and we need a minimum speed of 60 km/h, and I'm taking left. As you can see, the steering is coming back. I'll do that again. So in case if you have to overtake it, you'll have to use an indicator. Just turn on the indicator. By the way, this is the blind spot view copied from Alcazar, and you can see that the steering isn't showing any resistance.
Yeah, and the final one is the traffic sign recognition. So once you enable it, so there wasn't a traffic sign. You may seen the
Okay.
80 km of speed.
Okay.
There.
Yes, I can see that.
So what of the system currently? Our radar system can have the ability to detect the traffic signs of all the speed limits which is placed on the roads, highways, and do not overtake speed limit. Do not overtake traffic sign, overtake allowed traffic sign, and end of speed limit traffic signs. These are all the 4 types of traffic signs which system can able to detect, and it will be showing on the cluster here.
Okay.
So once you cross the traffic sign, so it will be showing here. So say for example, if there was a traffic speed limit of 80 kmph, when you are crossing, it will be showing there. So it will not provide warning and all.
Okay.
It just notifies the user that this is where the speed you need to
Yeah,
go.
I think this is going to help a lot of people who succumb to going to interceptors after overspeeding by mistake, not
Yeah,
intentionally.
exactly.
They tell that I didn't see the signboard.
Yes.
Yeah,
If
so
they,
this is
if
going
they
to help.
missed out,
Yeah, this will help.
we will be providing the
Yeah.
particular speed limit to the user.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumarasan. Thank you so much.
In a nutshell, we feel the XUV 700 is a great proposition when you consider the laundry list of equipment in it. It looks striking, has abundant space in the first 2 rows, and is a literal monster on wheels with 450 Newton meters of torque. We won't be surprised if this is going to turn the fortunes for Mahindra in the utility segment, which was significantly losing its market share to the Korean newbies. Not to forget, smaller things like the addition of wind tone like horn of the Germans go a big way too.
One of the things that I really like about Mahindra is they take customer feedback very seriously most of the times. But this is one of those times where they could have done the job slightly better. Probably they should have listened to the consumers and worked upon the boot space, the last row seats, because these are the 2 areas of improvement where XUV is lacking since a decade. And this was the opportunity, this was the time for Mahindra to wake up and fix things here, but Mahindra has left these 2 things. But having said that, there are some areas where Mahindra has shown considerable improvement. That is the fit and finish of the cabin. The cabin layout is much better now in terms of the plastics, the materials used, etc. And more importantly, the music system is much better. It's miles ahead than the previous XUV. And Mahindra has also worked on adding proper rear AC vents here, unlike the B pillars of the rear, which makes a lot of difference now in our hot and humid conditions. And what's more interesting is it's a very well packaged SUV, a proper SUV with an all-wheel drive option, not like the studio SUVs. And the best part is the car is launched recently and the price starts at just 11.99 lakhs for the petrol variant, which is just phenomenal. I mean, this is one of these rare launches where it received, a lot of people started clapping when the price was announced. So that says all, that says everything about what this car is going to offer for that price bracket. That's about it. If you guys like the video, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram. Take care, drive safe, and more importantly, please stay healthy and stay safe during these tough times. See you again until next time.